So I know this chapter of My Hero Academia has been out for a few days now, and I know many have been looking forward to my thoughts on what happened with Toga. And so, let's get right into it. Toga had a quirk upgrade, which is something that the community is obviously going to be split on. When it came to Izuku being able to have multiple quirks and his quirk evolving, it was a big discussion. It was a big discussion for the entire My Hero Academia community because it brings into fact that Izuku will become OP. And now seeing what just happened to Toga, this is it's different, but it's a little bit reminiscent of it. In the fact that quirks are definitely changing, and what we know of quirks and what we think is potentially their ability is evolving. Our understanding of quirks is evolving, and in this case, it fits well with the series, because when you think about what quirks are about, or meta abilities, if we're going by Destro's, ideology on it, quirks are something that just recently appeared for the past few generations, and people are still studying quirks. They're still trying to figure out the fundamentals of where quirks come from, to how, they even started in the first place, to just how they morph and become something even more powerful. And this is something that has been in the story, intertwined with the story, since the very beginning. I mean, with the whole Izuku not having a quirk, that was a big thing. He was someone that was a very rare possibility of someone born without a quirk. And then he obviously got a quirk eventually, but we move over to other characters. We move over to someone like Todoroki. He was someone that was born from two very strong individuals, strong parents, one that had ice and one that had fire, and because of how quirk and heritage is, it made it to where he inherited both quirks mixed together perfectly to where he could use both. So we have seen since the very beginning of the story that quirks evolving and changing, and the understanding of quirks has been happening since the beginning. So, her being able to use Ochaco's quirk, it does bring in a fact of power scaling for her, where she stands right now, but I'll get to that later on in this video. But, right now, being able to gain this is a huge thing for a lot of our characters. It's very big for pretty much every single character in this series now. It basically implies, depending on how these abilities are, or how much potentially stress they're under, they could evolve and become very strong. Stronger than what they are. For instance, example, let's talk about Mineta. Let's say Mineta, he became very stressed out. He was about to die or whatever. Something happened where his quirk grew exponentially. He was able to do stuff that he was never able to do. Like, he no longer needs to rip the balls off his head anymore. He can just make areas around him sticky like what his hairballs does. So, that could be a thing. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying that with quirk evolution, how things could evolve and become stronger, this could happen to our characters, to where what we know now from our characters isn't necessarily the endgame. I see why the community split. I do. On Toga gaining a next step to her quirk. But this is something that still does make sense in theory. At least for Toga. Even if it doesn't happen for other characters, it still makes sense in theory for Toga to be able to do something like this. And let me explain. See, we once again don't really know how quirks completely work. Like, we don't know their major origin story. It's been, theorized, there's a lot of stuff that's been in the series theorizing it, but it's never been concrete evidence where quirks necessarily came from. And so, we can say this at the very least. Toga, being someone that's able to ingest the blood of an individual, which technically carries the DNA of a said individual, would make sense for her to be able to use the quirk of another individual. To take their appearance, it makes sense for her to be able to do that, but also be able to use their ability, because she is transforming technically into their body structure. And because her body structure is morphing into theirs, it would make sense that that new body she's transformed into would be able to use so-and-so quirk. So, yes, it does make Toga incredibly strong, but looking at the fundamentals of it at the very least, of DNA and just how she ingests her blood and stuff to be able to transform, I don't think necessarily it's a bad thing for her character. It makes sense. Now, power-wise, Toga being able to use people's blood now, transform them, and use their quirk is scary. Because, once again, this goes back to one of the fundamentals of My Hero Academia. And that is the fact that heroes, we know everything about the heroes. For instance, their powers, how their quirks work, usually it's common knowledge. And so when villains face, let's say, someone like Endeavor, they know what to expect. They know how powerful he is, what he's capable of, and so they know. While as certain villains, if they're not really that well known, then it's just a big question mark. You don't know what quirk they're going to use, what power, whatever. You have no freaking idea. And that's what makes Toga's situation very dangerous. It makes it dangerous because they know that she could transform into others, but now they don't know that she can use someone else's ability, which makes her extremely dangerous because now Toga can easily integrate into a community disguised as someone and use their quirk to really get away with certain things. Because once again, they know that Toga potentially can't use someone's quirk, but now that she could easily get away with certain things. So use a quirk just to make sure that you are who you say you are, and now that she can do that, there we go. However, this does lead into a few things though. Now, with seeing Toga's reveal, and that she can use, let's say, Ochaco's quirk, this is definitely multi-layered, where Horikoshi is taking this. Number one, this demonstrates how powerful Ochaco's quirk is. What Toga did, and how she annihilated the Meta Liberation Army, like the section of it, Curious in this, chapter, is scary, but it shows how powerful Ochaco's quirk is. It shows that Ochaco has definitely trained with her quirk for a very long time. She's had a lot of practice, because seeing how hard all of them hit the ground and the splatter effect we saw, that's what Ochaco could easily do to an individual if she didn't have proper control of her quirk. Which, like I said, that's the scary part, is that Ochaco, her quirk is so dangerous. It is so dangerous. In the wrong hands, if she actually made a mess up and didn't release her quirk at the right time, or actually put it on someone, it could kill someone. And this goes back to what Shigaraki said basically at the beginning of his motive, when he got his motive, was that everybody technically has a loaded gun, and nobody really thinks about it, nobody looks at it, they just continue walking on throughout their day, not realizing the danger that completely surrounds them. And that's basically what Ochaco is. We get to see how powerful her quirk is without restrictions. And we also got to remember that Toga is someone that hasn't actually had the years of experience to learn their quirk. Example, obviously Ochaco, she's been training her quirk for years, her entire life, and since she got it. As for Toga, she's someone that just now got to use Ochaco's power. Yeah, she's been studying Ochaco, but she doesn't really know the full-on limitations, everything, the nitty-gritty of it. And so, because of that, could lead to some issues, which could accidentally kill said people. And so, I feel like Toga's even more dangerous than the heroes that are using their normal quirks, is because she doesn't know how to properly use them, which means that there can be a lot of errors. There can be a lot of problems with the calculations of her quirk usage. When let's say she took, I'm trying to think of a quirk here. Let's say she took, Todoroki's power, okay? She got his. If she took Todoroki's power, she might accidentally not know how to use her fire properly to negate it in a certain direction and completely fry someone or freeze them solid to where they die instantly. That's what I'm trying to say, is that because of her not really having the knowledge/experience, hand-on experience, will make her quirk even deadlier than it is to get rid of people because of that. So yeah, Toga's scary. She is definitely a scary, scary, scary character now because of that. Because now, she's easily one of the strongest characters a part of Shigaraki's group. Shigaraki's powerful with his quirk, but Toga really takes the cake. She is incredibly powerful now, because she is literally a perfect doppelganger. She can legit transform into someone and use their quirk. Scary. So, anyways, with all that being said, though, let's talk about Toga's personality. So, I did get into this in my last chapter review, that Toga, as a character, we know now that she was always putting on a mask, and the mask finally broke, and she became her true self. And the entire message of this chapter is basically, once again, reinforcing the fact that Toga, she is someone that was technically broken thanks to society. She was someone that was born like that, which automatically means that she's not someone that can be reformed. No matter what type of counseling, whatever you do, she will not be reformed. It's kind of like someone is born with the case of where they want to hurt someone. Like, for instance, let's think of Kira from Part 4 of JoJo. You have an individual that's just born with a problem, and no matter what you do, no matter how they want to fit in, it's not going to happen. No matter what. Even if they are given the proper treatment or whatever, they will never be able to truly be themselves. They'll be given medicine or something, but are they really themselves? They're just being forced to fit into society, which was what the message was. Basically, Toga's entire existence, she is someone that will never truly be normal. She'll never really be able to properly fit into society no matter what. And so, no matter what, with counseling or whatever, would have fixed that. And it makes her story sad. Because Toga, she truly believes that she is normal, she truly believes that she is fine, and she truly believes that what she's doing is technically right. That's what she believes in. But at the same time, you know, she isn't right for some of the things she's doing, but the way people went about it kind of made her situation a hell of a lot worse. There might have been other options, but even then, though, once again, Toga would never have been able to properly fit in just because of how she was born. Because of her being, you know, admiring blood, and also how her quirk works, she would always have a fine line of just that nature, what she is right now. So, yeah, I feel bad for her, but once again, she is not someone that could necessarily be redeemed. She is not redeemable because that's just who she is. That is her normal. That is her as a person, so nothing will ever change that. So I think that's pretty much about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this chapter of My Hero Academia. Tell me your thoughts. What was your side of this? Like, what do you feel about Toga having a quirk evolution? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Tell me your honest thoughts in the comments below. And I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.